Speaker number 9, Harold Patterson. The pain passes. The pain passes. Harold Patterson.
Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, friends, and distinguished guests. At the beginning of this century, in a home in southern France, the great French impressionist Henri Matisse watched as an easel was propped in front of a crippled old man. And he watched as a nurse placed a paintbrush between the fingers of the old man's twisted rheumatic hand. And then Matisse turned to his friend, the aging artist, Pierre-Auguste Renoir, and asked him why he continued to paint when the pain was so intense. And Renoir's answer was this: "My dear friend, the pain passes, but the beauty remains." What a magnificent thought. The pain passes, but the beauty remains. Renoir's pain eventually took his life, yet the beauty of his works, the creation of his art, remains with us even today. The very nature of our human existence ensures us that we too, at some time, in some way, will experience pain. And whether it be physical, emotional, or both, long-term, short-term, or lasting a lifetime, we must remember to be true to ourselves and to do those things which bring us the greatest joy. And then, too, like Renoir, our pain will pass. Sometimes our pain may be emotional. Someone once said that the human mind is the most remarkable of all creations. Think about that. It starts working even before we are born. It works continuously 24 hours a day, collecting and storing information, and never stops until we stand up to give a speech. As Toastmasters, probably the greatest pain that we will experience will be in those anxious moments just before we give our first speech. Our icebreaker, remember? That knot right in the pit of your stomach, the trembling legs, the blood racing through your veins, those sweaty palms. Yet no matter how great that pain is, there is no greater beauty than the feeling of accomplishment as we take our seat when it's over, and that's a feeling, a beauty that remains with us always. On June 23rd, 1940, a baby girl was born to a couple in Clarksville, Tennessee. The joy of this birth was overshadowed by the complications of its prematureness. The child developed double pneumonia and then scarlet fever, and by the time she was 6 years old, it was determined that she had polio. And that meant braces, confinement, and excruciating pain, yet with each visit to the doctor, her questions were always the same. When can I take the braces off? When will I walk? When will I be able to run with my friends? And each time the doctor's answer was this: I don't know. Maybe never. Little girl's pain was great, yet it was not strong enough to overcome her spirit, because one day she did take the braces off, and she did walk, and she did run. And did she ever run? In Rome in 1960, she ran for the whole world. To the French, she was known as La Gazelle. To the Italians, the Black Pearl. And to the rest of the world, her friends, and especially her 18 brothers and sisters, she was known as Wilma Rudolph, fastest woman in the world. Winner of 3 Olympic gold medals in Rome in 1960, Wilma Rudolph was living proof that the pain passes and the beauty remains. The pain of losing a loved one is something that never quite goes away, yet in time, even the pain of a loss is eased by the remembrance of that person's life. In 1935, a man died tragically in a plane crash in Alaska. The entire world felt the pain of this loss. His gift was laughter, and at this time he was helping a troubled world. laugh its way through a Great Depression. The loss of Will Rogers was a painful one indeed, yet the beauty of his life, his wit and wisdom, remains with us to this very day. Will Rogers said this: "In Oklahoma, we have an average annual rainfall of 31.2 inches. And boy, you ought to be there the day we get it." And again, the beauty remains. Sometimes our pain may be both physical and emotional. In 1983, a man and woman were married at the age of 34, and 2 years later, they decided to have a child. Not an unusual decision, but because of their age, they knew that certain precautions must be taken, and they were. After several thorough examinations, the doctor said, "Go for it." Their dream of having a child of their own would soon come true. And for the first 7 months, the pregnancy progressed flawlessly, but then the doctor noticed that something was wrong. A condition called preeclampsia would send the mother to bed under 24-hour hospital observation and threaten the lives of both mother and child. The only cure was to deliver the child now, but it was too soon, too early to do that. Valuable time was needed, so they waited and they prayed. 3 agonizing weeks went by, and finally the doctor said, "We must deliver this child now." And at 5:21 p.m. on July 24th, 1985, the doctor handed me my newborn daughter. And he looked at me and said, "She's 6 weeks premature and only 4 pounds 4 ounces. But she's a fighter, and she'll be just fine." And as the tears flowed freely, my wife and I now knew that the pain had passed and the beauty was here. The pain of life is inevitable for each of us, and whether it be physical, emotional, or both, long-term, short-term, or lasting a lifetime, we must remember to be true to ourselves and to do those things which bring us the greatest joy. And then finally, to remember, listen to, and embrace the words of Renoir as they are brushed across the canvas of our soul when he said, "My dear friend, the pain passes, but the beauty, oh, the beauty remains forever." Mr. Toastmaster.